Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Minister to state whether the Valuation Department was instructed to increase an initial rate they proposed for the rent per month and table a copy of the valuation report?
I'm not aware of any instruction given to the valuation committee, and therefore I cannot table any document in that respect.
Will the Honourable Minister confirm that the owner of the property lease is one Mr. A.J., and will he agree to conduct an independent inquiry in the whole process of award of the selection of the new officers of the EDP in Eben? And can the Honourable Minister inform the House if the Financial Services Commission is also one of the tenants of this building owned by Mr. N. Gupi?
For the latter part of the question, I'm not aware of that. But anyway, PSH Investment Limited is a private domestic company incorporated on September 22nd, 2017, with registered office at level 9, Ning Tower, Wall Street, Eben. Directors of PSH Investment Limited are Mr. V.G. and Mrs. K.L.G.
B755.
With permission, I shall reply to Parliamentary question B755 and B794 simultaneously as they relate to the same matter. I'm informed by the District Council of Rivière-du-Remport that in February 2003, following a procurement exercise conducted by the then Pamplemousse Rivière-du-Remport District Council for the construction of a market fair at Rivière-du-Remport, the contract was awarded to Alpha Mix Limited for a total sum of rupees 51,049,711 rupees, inclusive of VAT. The Council had disbursed an amount of rupees 36,997,116 rupees to Alpha Mix Limited as at 27th of September 2006, and had retained an amount of 14,052,595 rupees due to various unresolved issues such as unattended snags, uncertified extension of time, unjustified claims, and liquidated damage. Feeling aggrieved of the decision of the Council, Alpha Mix Limited lodged a case at the Supreme Court in the year 2008 with an initial claim of 183,848,589 rupees. On the 13th of May 2009, the Supreme Court, in consultation with both parties, appointed an arbitrator, namely Mr. Vellien, to adjudicate and resolve the dispute. The arbitrator, Mr. Vellien, made the following award, which were eventually paid by the Council. Firstly, on the 26th of January 2012, an amount of 2,026,065 rupees, 60 cents, representing retention money due less 10% for its snag list. On the 7th of June 2012, an amount of 303,909 rupees plus 80 cents, representing 15% VAT on the retention sum of 2,026,065 rupees and 60 cents. And on the 24th of July 2013, an amount of rupees 8,022,380, representing a claim of rupees 781,409 rupees and 40 cents plus interest accrued as from year 2005. On the 10th of February 2014, following an anonymous letter addressed to ICAC pertaining to allegation against both the arbitrator and the Council of Alpha Mix, the arbitrator withdrew himself from the arbitration. On the 18th of March 2015, the Supreme Court appointed Justice Marie Benjamin Joseph as arbitrator. Justice Marie Benjamin Joseph, arbitrator, made the following award, which were paid by the Council. On the 29th of August 2015, an amount of 3,536,250 rupees, representing the refund of liquidated and ascertained damage, inclusive of VAT. And secondly, on the 30th of July 2016, an amount of 11,181,928 rupees and 12 cents, representing compound interest at the rate of 15.33% accrued on the sum of 3,536,250 rupees due from 22nd of September 2005 to 4th of September 2015. On the 23rd of September 2016, Justice Benjamin Joseph, the arbitrator, granted an interim award of 72,921,570 rupees and 40 cents plus VAT in full and final and settlement of the capital claim. On the 5th of May 2018, an amount of 83,859,855 rupees and 96 cents was released by the Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Development, and the only live issue was the payment of interest at that time. On the 31st of December 2018, the arbitrator made an award for the payment of the amount of 438,634,098 rupees, representing interest at the rate of 15.33% per annum compounded daily on the capital amount of the 921,570 rupees over the period from the 10th of October 2005 to 3rd of May 2018, amounting to 427,324,630, and simple interest accruing on the amount of 427,324,630 rupees at the legal rate of 3.5% per annum over the period starting 4th of May 2018 until the date of payment. On the 14th of January 2022, in a judgment delivered by Justice Kwok Yin Seong Yen, the award was declared null and void. Subsequently, on the 27th of January 2022, Alpha Mix Limited applied for leave before the Supreme Court for an appeal before the Privy Council. The case was heard before 5 law lords of the Privy Council on the 26th of April 2023. On the 5th of June 2023, the law lords delivered their judgment and have concluded that the signed award delivered on the 3rd of January 2019 is still valid and enforceable in accordance with Article 1029/9 of the Civil Procedure Code. Mr. Speaker, sir, following advice of the Attorney General Office and the legal advisor of the Council, the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development was requested to make necessary arrangement for the payment of the claim. Subsequently, on the 15th of June 2023, the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development has provided an advance of 503,703,271 rupees to my ministry to enable the District Council of Rivière-du-Rempart to pay the interest to Alpha Mix. On the 16th of June 2023, action has been taken for payment of 503,703,271 rupees as interest by the Council.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. We are talking about a little more than ₹500 million. May I ask the Honourable Minister to inform the House as to how much was paid in terms of fees to the legal team of the Rivière-du-Rempart District Council for this legal case which started since 2003.
Actually, I don't have the exact money paid by the legal team because you have different team at different time. I can circulate it afterwards because we have different team at different time.
Yes, already canvassed. Already canvassed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. May I ask the Honourable Minister, how far is the President of the District Council, who was in office in 2003, when the Council refused to pay, because you mentioned it, the 8.2 million retention money to Alpha Mix, responsible for this long judicial battle, leading to this unprecedented loss of nearly $500 million taxpayers' money?
Sorry, sir, I didn't quite understand the initial question. Please.
Honourable Minister, I'm asking how far is the President of the District Council, the present President of the District Council, who was in office in 2003 when all this judicial battle started, is responsible for this unprecedented loss of nearly $500 million of taxpayers' money?
Well, actually, as you see, I've given all the details. How it started, why was the money was not paid at the time, because I mentioned there was a lot of unresolved issues, unattended snag, and certified extension of time, so there was a lot of problem. It went into 2 arbitration, one Mr. Vélien, and one, the second one by Justice Marie-Benjamin Joseph. They awarded this, sum. It's not the President of the Council or Chairman of the Council, no. It is these arbitrators who gave this, this kind of, I know it sounds like it's a very big sum, but this was given by the arbitrators, not by the Council.
Next question.
B756.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part A and Part A, Roman 1 of the question, with your permission, I'm tabling the requested information on the number of authorizations granted to organizations by the MFDC, a parastatal operating under the aegis of my ministry, for film shooting with whales in Mauritius for the years 2021, 2022, and 2023 to date. Mr. Speaker, sir, every film producer who intends to shoot a film or part of a film in Mauritius shall apply to the MFDC for authorization, as per the Regulation 2 of the Mauritius Film Development Corporation Regulations 2001. Moreover, with regard to film shooting with whales in Mauritius, the MFDC acts as a facilitator and a one-stop shop for applicants, and since August 2022, the MFDC forwards clearances received from the relevant authorities and any condition attached thereto to applicants for film shooting with whales. The MFDC seeks clearances from the following: 1. Prime Minister's Office, Department of Continental Shelf, Maritime Zones Administration and Exploration. 2. Ministry of Tourism. 3. Tourism Authority. 4. Ministry of Blue Economy, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Shipping. And lastly, the Commission of Police. I am further informed that these clearances are issued by the institutions subject to specific conditions which are communicated by the MFDC to the applicants. Some of the conditions include: first, submission of schedule of activities before the shooting and information of any change in the schedule prior to the shooting. Second, presence of officers of the Fisheries Division and the Fisheries Protection Service as observers during the shooting. Third, submission of work plan and GPS coordinates of location of shooting at sea and list of members for the shooting to the nearest fisheries post. And lastly, submission of documentary shooting exercise and documentary report after the shooting. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part A, Roman 2 of the question, I'm informed by the MFDC that to ensure compliance with the conditions attached to the authorization, officers of the Ministry of Blue Economy, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Shipping, and the Department of Continental Shelf, Maritime Zones Administration, and Exploration of the Prime Minister's Office undertake random surprise visits during the shooting with whales. In addition, officers of the Fisheries Division and Fisheries Protection Service are present during each trip at sea for shooting with whales as observers. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regards to part B of the question, I'm informed by the MFDC that on the 9th of August 2022, a complaint was received from the Ministry of Blue Economy, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Shipping regarding authorization given to one Mr. R.H., who represents the ODV Production Limited, for shooting with whales where marine mammals were allegedly stressed and harassed. Mr. Speaker, sir, following this complaint, I'm further informed by the Ministry of Tourism that the Tourism Authority has signed an agreement in December 2022 with ODV Production Limited, represented by Mr. R.H., after the company had obtained all the necessary clearances. For enforcement, the Tourism Authority's patrol craft TA-01 and crew ensure that all the film shooting sessions unfold without any kind of interference with pleasure craft licensees, skippers at sea. This service is actually billed to the company. On top of that, the patrol craft TA-01 patrols the identified zones on a regular basis, keeping well clear of the pleasure craft leased by the said company whenever the shooting sessions are in progress. Moreover, they verify that the company operates as per the terms and conditions set out in the authorization letters. Besides, the Tourism Authority ascertains that other pleasure craft licensees, skippers, also comply with the Tourism Authority Dolphin and Whale Watching Regulations 2012. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Ministry of Tourism that as at date, there has been no incident at sea whereby the above-mentioned company failed to comply with the terms and conditions imposed by the ministries and departments which authorize the shooting sessions with whales. Mr. Speaker, sir, in case there are any further non-compliance issue, the attention of the relevant authority will be flagged accordingly.
Nous avons donc la confirmation qu'il existe bel et bien des baleines à l'île Maurice, contrairement à ce qu'un ministre avait pu dire dans le passé. Nous avons des baleines de passage, mais également des baleines qui sont en permanence dans nos eaux, une trentaine. Maintenant, le ministre peut-il nous dire s'il est au courant que le détenteur de permis qu'il a mentionné et dont la marraine est l'épouse du Premier ministre, est-ce qu'il est au courant que ce détenteur de permis utilise en réalité la production de films pour faire, je cite, du tourisme d'aventure, et je cite le contrat qu'il fait signer à ses clients, où il propose d'ailleurs des forfaits à des prix exorbitants, ce qui viole les conditions imposées dans le permis délivré par son ministère, notamment la condition G, la section G, je cite, « The film shooting exercise shall not include any ecotourism or commercial activities ». Et il va même plus loin en demandant à ses clients de payer... Oui, j'aurais demandé. Le ministre est-il au courant de cela et qu'il va encore plus loin en demandant aux clients...
Can you stop there? Put your question straightforward.
Je sais que vous êtes impatient, j'arrive. Il demande aux clients de payer pour les frais de ce bateau de la Tourism Authority dont le ministre a fait mention, ce qui viole encore une fois les conditions du permis. Donc le ministre peut-il nous dire s'il est au courant de ces pratiques et de ce tourisme illégal, en plus de la complainte qui a été faite et qu'il vient de mentionner, et s'il ne pense pas qu'il faudrait...
You're dragging too much on this question. If you have another question, put it, or I'll change. The next question would be to Honorable Asia Baden. Put your question. You still have a question? Okay, let me hear the question.
Est-ce que le ministre ne pense pas qu'au vu de toutes ces raisons, il ne faudrait pas, une bonne fois pour toutes, enlever le permis de ce soi-disant producteur qui est en train de clairement abuser et mettre une pression constante sur ces mammifères marins? à travers des tournages qui durent des mois.
Mr. Speaker, sir, first of all, yes, we do have whales in our seas as well as sharks. So that goes for the comment of Honourable Member. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've said it loud and clear in my reply. We ensure at all times that all the conditions set out in all the clearances, because as mentioned, clearances are issued by different institutions. We try to ensure to the best of our abilities that those conditions are strictly followed and complied with. But of course, if there are certain conditions not being adhered to with, I myself am not privy to any non-compliance. But of course, if we have information, and if Honourable Member does have information, we will be happy to act upon. But until then, it's impossible for me to reply or to make any statement on what has been said.
Honourable Ashevin. Sufficiently canvassed. Half-page question. You have a half-page question, and you're dragging on your next supplementary question.
P 760.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Wakwa Phoenix that the mini soccer pitch at Kanfukro was constructed in 2013 by the NDU and handed over to the Council on the 17th of October 2013 for the use by the public. However, due to normal wear and tear, the Council undertook upgrading work on the pitch in June 2021 for an amount of 891,000 rupees, and the work was completed in August 2021. With regard to maintenance of the synthetic turf, an annual exercise is carried out by the Council to maintain its synthetic pitch. The company who had been awarded the contract for the maintenance informed the Council on the 2nd of May 2023 that the state of the turf at Kanfukro is beyond repair and has recommended full replacement of the turf. A survey has been carried out by officers of the Council at Kanfukro mini soccer pitch, and it has been observed that the pitch needs complete renovation, including ancillary work, which is estimated at 7 million rupees. Funding avenues are being explored at present in the forthcoming budget.
Et ce mini soccer pitch de Kanfukro a été créé en 2013, comme l'a si bien dit le ministre, et rénové et inauguré en 2022. Donc 9 ans, ce Kanfukro mini soccer pitch a tenu. L'année dernière, le 27 mars 2022, le maire et l'honorable M. Babli a inauguré ce mini soccer pitch. Et 15 mois après, M. le ministre, après avoir dépensé près d'1 million de roupies, 15 mois après, ce mini soccer pitch est abîmé et demande rénovation. Est-ce que vous avez demandé aux responsables de la municipalité concernant la qualité de travail, la qualité des matériaux utilisés? Parce que 15 mois, le mini soccer pitch est déjà au service.
Yes, I tried to get information about this, why it happened again, and I was told that the synthetic grass has been uprooted due to negligence of some users and players. That's why it was spoiled so soon.
Donc, cela est mis sur le dos des joueurs, parce que ce sont les jeunes de Highlands, Kanfukro, Castel et Hermitage et autres qui jouent sur ce mini soccer pitch. Je voudrais savoir du ministre le fait que moi j'ai des photos en ma possession et j'en ai parlé à l'honorable Babli samedi. Ce mini soccer pitch est en un état complètement abîmé et les structures métalliques sont rouillées et cassées, présentant des dangers pour les jeunes qui jouent sur ce terrain. Est-ce que la municipalité a pris la disposition de faire fermer ce mini soccer pitch le temps que la réparation se fasse? Parce que c'est un danger public.
Okay, I don't know at the present time whether it's closed or not, but I can check with the council. But that's what I've told you. I mean, a lot of work would need to be done there. As I have estimated, it's going to cost about 7 million, and we are going to try to get it in the forthcoming budget.
And team?
B761.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I will reply to B761 and B771 together as they relate to the same subject matter.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the import of live cattle for the Eid ul-Adha festival to be celebrated this month, the Inter-Ministerial Committee set up to look into the sale and fixing of the price of live cattle decided on the 2nd of March of this year that the Mauritius Meat Authority would import 600 cattle from South Africa prior to the festival. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to point out that out of the 9 provinces in South Africa, livestock are not allowed to be imported from 6 provinces, namely Mpumalanga, Gauteng, Limpopo, Northwest Province, KwaZulu-Natal, and Free State, due to prevalence of foot and mouth disease. The board of the MMA on the 21st of March 2023 approved the import of the cattle from South Africa. The board also approved that a delegation comprising of the general manager of the MMA and veterinary officers from the livestock and veterinary division of the ministry would proceed to South Africa in connection with the import of the live cattle. On 12th of April 2023, the general manager proceeded to South Africa and visited livestock farms and quarantine stations, as well as looked into the necessary logistics for the smooth transportation and delivery of livestock in Mauritius. I hasten to add that there was no delegation which proceeded to South Africa, but the general manager proceeded on 12 April 2023 alone. Subsequently, amendments were brought to the public procurement regulations for the MMA to be exempted for the purchase of livestock for resale. Amendments were brought on 14th April 2023 for resale and or slaughter of livestock. Nevertheless, despite the amendments to the PPA regulations, the MMA established a comprehensive procurement process which was approved by the MMA board on 27th April 2023. Following financial clearance to the tune of 57 million rupees obtained on 26 April 2023 for the purchase and shipment of the 600 live cattle to Mauritius, as well as provision for the quarantine facilities for the cattle prior to the festival, the board of the Mauritius Meat Authority, at its meeting of 27 April 2023, approved the launching of 4 bidding exercises, namely for purchase, shipment, insurance, and quarantine of the live cattle. Accordingly, bid for the purchase of live cattle was launched on 27 April 2023 with closing dates of 2nd May 2023. Bid for shipment was launched on 28 April 2023 with closing date of 3rd May 2023. Bid for insurance cover was launched on 4th May 2023 with closing date 10th May 2023. For quarantine of the cattle in Mauritius, the bid was launched on 3rd May 2023 with closing date 5th of May 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that following the evaluation of those bids received, the board of the Mauritius Meat Authority issued letters of award on 8th of May 2023. The letter of award for purchase of cattle was issued to Elliott Trust, South Africa, for the supply of 320,000 kg weight of live cattle. However, on 22nd of May, the company, namely Elliott Trust of South Africa, which was awarded the contract for the purchase of live cattle, informed the Meat Authority that it was unable to proceed with the acceptance of the award due to its bank, namely Standard Bank, which had declined to offer pre-shipment financing. On 25th May 2023, Mauritius Meat Authority informed that the awarding company could not monetize the letter of credit, hence the Meat Authority would not be able to proceed further with the procurement. In the circumstances, Mr. Speaker, sir, following approval of the board of the Meat Authority, a new bidding exercise was launched on 25th of May 2023 for the procurement of live cattle. In that new bidding exercise, the Meat Authority received 2 bids. However, at the board meeting of the Meat Authority of 30th of May 2023, it was reported that the new bidding exercise, which had received 2 bids, were not responsive due to absence of mandatory bidding documents. Therefore, the Meat Authority was not in a position to meet the deadline for the import of live cattle for the Eid-ul-Adha festival. Now, concerning the delegation which would proceed to South Africa, it is to be recalled that on 27th April 2023, the board had approved that a delegation would proceed to South Africa comprising of the inter alia, general manager, officer of the Livestock Veterinary Division, 1 officer from the FARE. However, in view of the circumstances, as I have just described, the delegation did not proceed to South Africa. Mr. Speaker, sir, insofar as the expenses are concerned, I am informed that expenses incurred so far in respect of the above include fees paid to the chairperson and members of the bid evaluation committees held at the Mauritius Meat Authority for the evaluation of bids. Expenses will also include the trip of the general manager, as I have described earlier, but these have not been paid yet to the general manager. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
May I know from the Honourable Minister whether a contract was signed between the MMA and the cattle carrier, RTSS, and if so, whether any claim has been made by RTSS for the hiring of that cattle vessel?
As I had stated earlier, Mr. Speaker, sir, there were 4 bidding exercises, 1 for purchase, 1 for shipment, 3rd one for insurance, and 4th one for the quarantine. So therefore, concerning the question of shipment, yes, there was a letter of award for shipment which was issued on 8th May. For shipment of cattle, it was issued to RTSS Maritime Services LLC Dubai. Now, whether there is a claim from that company, I have to check, Mr. Speaker. Since there was no import, of course, there was no shipment.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, importation of live cattle is a specialized business, and not every Tom, Dick, and Harry can do so. So, my question to the Honourable Minister, since the last attempt has been a fiasco, the total fiasco, can I ask him what guarantee he can give to the House for next year's festival if the idea of importing live cattle is still on the cards, or has it been abandoned?
Well, I take objection to the qualification of total fiasco. That is a question of appreciation. I have given a lengthy reply to explain what has been done, and we are talking of the combined efforts of the officers of the Mauritius Meat Authority and other officers. I'm not talking of any Tom, Dick, and Harry. I also agree that it is a specialized line of business and we need to proceed with caution, but the importation happened in the past, so we can replicate. It can happen. It is still on the cards. For the reasons I have stated in my reply, it did not materialize this time. I am confident that we can make it happen in future.
Next question, number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. B762.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. We have continue. Continue.
B762.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Wastewater Management Authority that in order to abate the wastewater problems being encountered in constituency number 4, Port Louis North and Mont Ailon, the Wastewater Management Authority has embarked on the implementation of several sewerage projects. A number of projects have been completed between 2016 and to date, namely, A, the design and construction of sewer reticulation and house connections at Sipai Bouillet, Vallée des Prêtres in 2016, where 155 houses have been completed. B, sewerage infrastructure at Résidence La Cure Port-Louis, CHA Phase 4 in 2017, where 84 houses have been connected. Sewerage project at Bangladesh, Trengbar Sainte-Marie in 2019, where 33 houses have been connected. Upgrading of sewers at Allée Père Laval Sainte-Croix in 2020, and sewer extension works and sewer deviation works at Nicolet Port-Louis. The main sewerage projects that are ongoing currently include the following. One, the sewerage project at Morcellement, Goulamali, Le Hocher, Terre Rouge. Following numerous complaints from residents of the Morcellement, Goulamali region made to the wastewater management authority regarding nuisances caused by overflows of existing cesspits, the sewerage project at Morcellement, Goulamali, Le Hocher, Terre Rouge was started and is currently being carried out in 2 phases. The phase 1 of the project is presently being implemented to cater for some 225 house connections in the regions of Avenue Ayer, Avenue Bleuet, Avenue Bleuet, Morcellement, Goulamali, and Sainte-Marie Street. The project was awarded on 13th, 2021 to joint venture Square Deal Serving for a contract amount of 140.2 million, including VAT, and is expected to be completed by June 2023. Phase 2 of the project, being implemented in the regions of Morcellement, Goulamali, involved the construction of street sewers and all related ancillaries, house connection works, water pipe replacement, and road reinstatement. The project was awarded on 30th December 2022 to Ash Padayachi, the contractor, for a contract amount of 88 million rupees and is presently ongoing. The duration of the project is 18 months and is expected to be completed by June 2024. At the end of the project, some 120 houses will be connected to the public sewer system. 2, the sewerage project at Résidence Vallée des Prêtres and Bernardin de Saint-Pierre. The sewerage project at Résidence Vallée des Prêtres and Bernardin de Saint-Pierre Street is an extension of the 6 prioritized sites rehabilitation program under CHA Phase 4. Due to frequent wastewater overflow, particularly after heavy rainfall, residents there frequently deal with annoyances and health hazards. The Vallée des Prêtres Government School is surrounded by the 242 housing flats that makes up the Vallée des Prêtres CHA estate. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to outline that the Résidence Vallée des Prêtres comprises of some 336 apartments and were constructed by NHDC in 1993. These problems have been encountered by the residents for the past 30 years. The wastewater project by WMA comprises the replacement of the existing main sewer along Bernardin de Saint-Pierre Street over a stretch of around 650 meters from its junction with School Lane to that of Kenda Lane. This will help to relieve the existing sewer along Kenda Lane, which is prone to frequent overflows during rainfall. At the end of the project in December 2023, some 260 houses within Résidence Vallée des Prêtres and Bernardin de Saint-Pierre will be connected. 3, the sewerage project at Cité Roma. The Wastewater Management Authority is also carrying out the sewerage project at Cité Roma, Richter, under framework agreement for sewer extension works to lessen the environmental nuisances brought on by frequent wastewater overflows. Again here, this is a recurring problem for the past 30 years. The work is being undertaken by Serving Limited for a contract amount of 83,987,880 rupees, excluding VAT, and is presently ongoing. The duration of the project is 15 months. By mid-July 2023, the project will be completed and 74 homes will be connected to the sewer system. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition to the above, the Wastewater Management Authority is planning the implementation of sewage project at Carolalo Vallée des Prêtres, as well as along part of Bernardin de Saint-Pierre Street in the forthcoming financial year. It is expected that some 173 houses will be connected to the public sewer system. The implementation of the project will help to abate the recurrent sewage problems in these areas. In this context, the consultant Lux Consult Mauritius Limited has been appointed on June 2022. The scope of works consists of detailed topographical surveys, detailed design, preparation of the bid documents, assistance to the Wastewater Management Authority during the bidding stage, supervision of works, and contract administration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister advise whether this project will solve the recurrent problem of overflow of existing cesspit in the regions of Mont-Saint-Goulamali, Le Hochet and La Cure?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, I have stated in my reply that the following projects which I have mentioned will solve the problems of the inhabitants with regard to overflowing of their cesspits.
The table is advised that PQ B764, B782, B786, B791, B795, B797, B804 have been withdrawn. Next question.
B763.
Mr. Speaker, sir, every year some 130,000 visits are registered as outpatients in the cardiology units in the public hospitals. On average, 40,000 patients are treated annually for cardiovascular diseases, including cerebral, heart, kidney, and peripheral vascular damage. Out of the 160,000 admissions in all the public hospitals, about 10% are admitted for cardiac problems. Mr. Speaker, sir, in regard to Part B of the question, I wish to inform the House that heart surgeries in public health institutions are performed only at the Cardiac Center, Trust Fund for Specialized Medical Care. The number of heart surgeries performed at the Cardiac Center over the last 5 years is as follows: 735 heart surgeries for 2018, 807 heart surgeries for 2019, 818 heart surgeries for 2020, 874 heart surgeries for 2021, and 974 heart surgeries for 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, besides heart surgeries, can the Honourable Minister provide information pertaining to other treatments provided to cardiac patients in different hospitals?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in different hospitals, other treatment being the follow-up of patients. One, angiography being done in at Victoria Hospital and G2 Hospital, as well as SSR Hospital. And then primary coronary intervention. That means whenever a patient's been admitted for cardiac problems, if there need be to do the angiography and angioplasty at the same time, these also been provided in at Victoria Hospital and G2 Hospital, as well as Cardiac Center.
Can the Honourable Minister provide details on the waiting list for heart surgeries as at April 2023?
So as at April, 158 patients are on waiting list for heart surgeries. So it means it's important to look at the waiting time. So the waiting time will be between 4 to 6 weeks, provided these patients are fit to undergo such a major surgery.
Next question.
B765.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like first of all to inform the House that the preparation of our athletes is an ongoing exercise. These preparations are carried out with specific objectives set by the respective national sports federations, focusing on participation in major events such as the World Championships, continental and regional competitions, including the upcoming 2023 Indian Ocean Islands Games. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part A of the question, I would like to inform the House that the list of pre-selected athletes is subject to performance finalization and is continually evolving. The list of the sports disciplines in which Team Mauritius will be participating in the 2023 Indian Ocean Islands Games, together with the names of the pre-selected athletes, gender-wise, as well as the names of the respective national coaches, is being sought from the national sports federations and compiled. Same will be tabled as soon as possible. I would like to inform the House that our athletes are actively preparing for the Games, and the performance they have achieved so far in various competitions are quite encouraging. I wish to highlight here the recent victory by Club M against Kenya during the Mauritius Four-Nation Football Series International Friendly Match held at the Kudo National Sports Complex, which received enthusiastic support from the local community. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, the concerned national sports federations submitted a preparation plan which is currently being implemented with the support of my ministry. For that purpose, there is a provision of a sum of 25 million rupees in this financial year. Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I'm tabling a detailed breakdown of the budget allocated to the National Sports Federation. Thank you.
Monsieur le Président, l'exclusion de certains de nos meilleurs sportifs affecte la préparation au sein de certaines disciplines. De ce fait, l'honorable ministre peut-il nous dire quelles sont les actions et décisions prises concernant les judokas Pascal Laurent, Emmanuel Mounawa, Anne-Laure Lausché et Annabelle Laprovidence, entre autres, qui n'ont pas été présélectionnés parce que la demande d'affiliation de leurs clubs respectifs avec la Fédération de judo est toujours en attente, et aussi sans oublier le nageur Bradley Vincent qui est toujours suspendu par le comité olympique mauricien.
Monsieur le Président, il est très difficile pour moi de répondre à cela. De toutes les façons, la Fédération a la responsabilité de la présélection ou sélection des athlètes. Et je l'ai archi-dit ici dans cette Assemblée et à l'extérieur, depuis 2017 maintenant, que tout athlète qui se sent lésé, il y a différentes instances où ils peuvent faire appel. Il y a évidemment le Ombudsperson for Sports et plus loin, il y a aussi le Tribunal for Sports, donc arbitration, pardon. Les athlètes cités par l'honorable membre pourraient éventuellement faire appel à ces instances.
Monsieur le Président, 53 millions ont été identifiés dans le budget 2023-24 sur l'item Jeux des îles. Et de ce fait, l'honorable ministre peut-il nous donner les noms des athlètes présélectionnés ou sélectionnés pour ces Jeux et qui sont actuellement en préparation à l'étranger, justement avec le soutien financier du ministère des Sports?
Monsieur le Président, il ne faut pas que l'honorable membre fasse l'amalgame avec les 53 millions cités dans le budget. Ces 53 millions is meant for the participation of our athletes, de toute la délégation de la République de Maurice pour participer aux Jeux des îles. Les athlètes qui sont à l'étranger, qui sont préparés, qui suivent des training camps, évidemment, il faudra vérifier dans la liste que les fédérations concernées sont en train de préparer, et ce n'est que comme ça que j'aurai ces renseignements.
B766.
Mr. Speaker, sir,
I wish to point out that in 2 financial years, 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023, government approved the issue of 1,000 fishermen cards, where consideration was given to active fishermen whose application dated over 3 years in the first instance. Moreover, the retirement scheme allows us to provide additional 300+ cards, thus enabling us to allocate more than 1,300 fishermen cards. Subsequently, 380 fishermen registration cards have been issued to date, and 17 are from constituency number 1. A walk-in application exercise was carried out in March 2023, following which we received 1,363 new applications. The applications for new fishermen cards is an ongoing exercise, and as at today, about 1,500 applications have been received by my ministry. Mr. Speaker, sir, with respect to Part A of the question, the Fisheries Training and Extension Center has dispensed the general course for fishermen to 57 applicant fishers during the months of April 2023. 51 male and 6 female applicant fishers have benefited of the training course. Among the 57 applicants fishers, 8 are from constituency number 1. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have to point out that during the walking application exercise, 70 applications were received from the constituency number 1. With respect to Part B of the question regarding stipend to trainees, I wish to inform the House that training is free of charge. The trainees are, however, provided with a daily stipend of 300 rupees for attending the course and to meet their traveling expenses. The daily stipend of 300, of course, is paid subject to their attendance to the training course, and I'm pleased to inform the House that the daily stipend paid for training will be increased from 300 to 650 as from July 2023.
Monsieur le Président, les conditions du training course prévoient donc une allocation journalière de 300 roupies, comme l'a mentionné le ministre. Puis-je demander au ministre combien de temps les applicants fishers doivent normalement attendre pour percevoir le montant de leur allocation? Car j'ai rencontré, pas plus tard qu'avant-hier, des pêcheurs de ma circonscription qui ont terminé leur formation le 20 avril 2023 et qui n'ont toujours pas reçu leur stipend, alors que nous sommes aujourd'hui le 20 juin, soit précisément 2 mois après la formation.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the members for this information. I will look into, and of course, I'm not aware of this issue.
Monsieur le Président, le ministre de la Pêche a déposé à la Chambre le 18 avril 2023 les critères d'éligibilité pour l'enregistrement des pêcheurs artisanaux. Et le 9e et dernier critère concerne précisément cette formation et se lit comme suit: The eligible applicant fisher shall successfully complete a 6-week general fisher course conducted by the ministry responsible for fisheries to be registered as an artisanal fisher. Aussi, puis-je demander au ministre d'expliquer à la Chambre dans quel cas la formation annoncée par son ministère d'une durée de 6 semaines est réduite à 8 jours. Alors j'imagine qu'il va nous dire qu'il s'agit des pêcheurs d'une certaine expérience, mais précisément, j'aimerais que le ministre vienne nous expliquer sur quels critères son ministère juge une certaine expérience de certains pour une formation raccourcie, et je demanderai au ministre de bien vouloir dissiper les doutes que je peux avoir sur le fait qu'il y aurait une formation fast-track pour les proches du pouvoir.
No, Mr. Speaker, sir. Again, this is the second time, I think, during his intervention on the budget speech, I don't remember, made some gratuitous allegation on me with regard to this procurement of equipment for fishers, that the first procurement was cancelled for obvious reason. Both, in fact, both procurement were non-responsive. So we have to, there's nothing protection for anybody. So with regard to the general course for fishermen, as I just pointed out that we are giving priority to those fishermen who have been waiting since 3 years, more than 3 years now. And in fact, everybody knows when Labour Party and PMSD was in power, not a single card was issued, Mr. Speaker, sir. Come on now, the general course for fishermen is dispensed indeed on a 6 weeks training. But being given that priority was given to applicant fishers over 3 years of experience who are active and have over 3 years, as I said, experience, the course was shortened to 8 days with emphasis on the security aspects at sea. So, in fact, another component that the recommendation letter was from registered fishers attesting that these applicant fishers have fishing experience with them was submitted to the Ministry for eligibility for the 8 days training. And the shortened course comprised the following components. The mechanic aspect, so in fact, mechanical emphasis is put on outboard engines, the general description about the types, rating, operation of boats is given, safe operation procedures are explained. Applicant fishers also taught about maintenance, servicing and minor repairs, troubleshooting and repairs, electrical wiring and other auxiliary equipment. And the security aspect, obviously safety at sea. Applicant fishers explain about the usage of life-saving equipment, life jacket, lifeboat, GPS, and also about the potential dangers such as loss at sea. So another aspect is the phytosanitary aspect, of course, to better preserve their fish and fish products. So it's nothing to do with any preference for anybody. All applicants are treated same, and it will be a continuous exercise until we realize by next, I hope, hopefully by April, the allocation of the balance of 1,000 cards, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Next question.
B 767. Merci.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that on 12 May 2023, the Air Mauritius Cabin Crew Association, commonly known as AMCA, made representation to the Conciliation and Mediation section of my ministry to the effect that through a letter dated 3rd of May 2023, Air Mauritius Limited had reproached Mrs. YBR and requested her for explanation on comments and remarks made against the management of Air Mauritius Limited during a live private radio and social media program on 25th April 2023. AMCA had therefore solicited the conciliation service of my ministry in accordance with Section 68 of the Employment Relations Act. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Conciliation and Mediation section of our ministry had a conciliation meeting with the representatives of the management of Air Mauritius Limited and AMCA on Monday, 22nd May 2023. Following discussions with both parties, that is with the management of Air Mauritius and Mrs. YBR, who was accompanied by the negotiator of AMCA, Mr. RKS, the latter agreed to submit a written reply to management of Air Mauritius Limited by 26 May 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm further informed that through a letter dated 25th May 2023, the negotiator of AMCA informed my ministry that a reply was sent to Air Mauritius Limited on 25th May 2023. I'm also informed that Air Mauritius Limited is still investigating into the matter.
Remercie, Monsieur le Président. Le ministre pourrait-il indiquer à la Chambre si son ministère compte statuer sur le litige actuel entre Air Mauritius et la présidente de l'AMCA qui vise à museler la syndicaliste, ainsi que de modifier la section 64 2A II Protection Against Termination of Agreement de la Workers' Rights Act afin d'exempter tous les employés syndicalistes lorsqu'ils exercent leurs fonctions pour le syndicat. Merci.
Mr. Speaker, sir, as regard to the first part of the question, I've answered extensively in my main reply. Whereas I need to inform the honourable member that there is a procedural agreement between the management of Air Mauritius and AMCA. And it is the articles clearly defines the role of each parties. As regard to the communication part, it is, I refer the Honourable Member to Article 5. I can table it if you want.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le ministre peut-il indiquer à la Chambre si son ministère compte exiger de la direction d'Air Mauritius le retrait de la lettre qui est une pure persécution contre la présidente de l'AMCA, faisant suite à sa participation à une émission radio alors qu'elle était mandatée par le syndicat pour exprimer le point de vue de ses membres. Merci.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, Mrs. WBR was only requested to furnish explanation following the comments made on a radio program. So obviously, there is status quo at present since the conciliation meeting that was held at my ministry.
Next question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. B768, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Aqua Phoenix that it had launched a first bidding exercise for the cleaning and upgrading of the existing drains covers within the township of Aqua Phoenix, including one site at Solferino No. 3, Vakwa. The contract was awarded to J&J Company Limited on the 29th of April 2022 for the rate of 34,000 rupees per meter, excluding VAT, for a total estimated cost of 2.6 million rupees for the whole project. However, due to poor performance and breach of contractual obligation, the Council terminated the contract. It is to be noted that no payment had been effected to that contractor. A new bidding exercise was launched for the remaining work on the 19th of September 2022. The new contract was awarded to Prakas Fulchan Contractor Limited on the 15th of November 2022 at a quoted rate of 37,200 rupees per meter, excluding VAT, for a total estimate cost of 2,643,468 rupees, which included the cleaning and upgrading of the existing drain covers at Solferino No. 3 over a length of 135 meters, also comprising 34 meters of heavy-duty metal grating and 10 meters of covered slabs. Work has been completed on the 31st of January 2023 to the satisfaction of the Council in compliance to the works order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Vice Prime Minister whether he is in presence of a report from the Council that they have expressed satisfaction as to the work carried out at Solferino No. 3, because as it stands, the situation is worse than before. Worse than before. Many complaints from the inhabitants.
Anyway, as I said, from the information I've got from the Council, that's what they say. The work has completed to their satisfaction. That's what I've just said. But I can check with them again. If you have any problem, I'll check with them again.
So, may I ask the Honourable Vice Prime Minister whether you will take this matter seriously with the Municipal Council, because as it stands, the inhabitants are very, very angry as to the poor workmanship of the works that have been carried out there.
I'll check on that.
B769.
Sir, in reply to part A of the question, I'm informed that since 1st January 2022 till 15th June 2023, 258 persons have passed away due to COVID. Mr. Speaker, sir, with your kind permission, I will be tabling the information in respect of part A1 and part A2 of the question, that is the age and gender-wise. Mr. Speaker, sir, in reply to part B of the question, I am further informed that of the persons who have passed away due to COVID-19, 68 were vaccinated and 73 were not vaccinated. And as for the remaining deceased patient, their vaccination status was not specified. It is to be noted that among those vaccinated, only a small percentage have recently had their booster dose. Mr. Speaker, sir, in reply to part C of the question, in Mauritius, 81.3% of the population have already received their first dose, while 78.4% have received their second dose. 51.8% have already received their first booster dose, while 1.9% of the population have been administered a second booster dose of COVID-19 vaccine. Mr. Speaker, sir, on 5th April 2023, the WHO local office submitted a copy of the WHO Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization, that is SAGE, roadmap on uses of COVID-19 vaccines in the context of Omicron and substantial population immunity. With the recommendation of the SAGE roadmap, following its 20th to 23rd March meeting, WHO's advisory group of experts on immunization revised the roadmap for prioritizing the use of COVID-19 vaccines to reflect the impact of Omicron and high population level immunity due to infection and vaccination. The roadmap also includes revised recommendations on additional booster doses and the spacing of boosters. The current COVID-19 vaccines reduction of post-COVID conditions is also considered, but the evidence on the extent of their impact is inconsistent. The revised roadmap outlines 3 priority use groups for COVID-19 vaccination, that is the high, medium, and low. For the high priority group, WHO re-emphasizes the importance of vaccinating those at risk of severe disease, mostly older adults and those with underlying conditions, young adults with significant comorbidities, that is diabetes and heart disease, people with immunocompromising condition, that is people living with HIV and transplant recipients, including children aged 6 months and older, pregnant persons, and frontline health workers. SAGE recommends an additional booster dose of either 6 or 12 months after the last dose, while the time frame, depending on factors such as age and immunocompromising compromising conditions. The medium priority group, that is, those of healthy adults, usually under the age of 50 or 60, without comorbidities, and children and adolescents with comorbidities. SAGE also recommends primary series of first booster doses for the medium priority group, although additional boosters are safe for this group. SAGE does not recommend routine administration of vaccination comparatively due to a low public health returns. The low priority group includes healthy children and adolescents aged 6 months to 17 years. So primary and booster doses are safe and effective in children and adolescents. Mr. Speaker, sir, Ministry has already acted upon the recommendations of the WHO in order to avail of the bivalent Pfizer vaccines to be administered to the high priority group of the society. In fact, we will be receiving as donation from the US government through the COVAX facility some 50,000 doses of bivalent COVID vaccines very soon. We are liaising with our mission in Geneva and the US Embassy in Mauritius in order to formalize the donation procedures.
Thank you to the Minister. Le ministre peut-il nous dire ce qu'il a prévu des vaccins spécifiques pour les nouvelles souches qui font leurs apparitions récemment?
Please, can I have the question again? Les nouvelles souches.
Well, whatever, I put it in English for you. Whatever planning to have vaccine specifics to the new strain.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. So that's what the government will go for, the high priority group. That is those who are above 60 or the below 60, those with comorbidities, immunocompromising patients, those will be vaccinated with the vaccination that we'll be receiving following the donation by the US government.
Can the Honourable Minister tell the House if the vaccination program against COVID-19 is still going on, and if he can indicate the names and the type of vaccine which are inoculated, and indicate the health center where the public should attend?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I don't have the updated information, but so far the vaccines that we are administrating is the J&J vaccine. So up to now, I think these vaccines will be expired by August this year, and so till August we will be able to use this vaccination, and these vaccinations are being administered in the regional hospitals.
E770.
Minister.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, the construction progress for the new community health center at Rochebois currently stands at 14% completion. The contract for this work was awarded to Ganeshan Construction Limited, and HSCC India Limited was appointed as the project management consultant. The site was handed over on 24th August 2021, and the work started on 7th September 2021 in accordance with the contractual agreements. The original completion date specified in the contract was 4th July 2022, but it was subsequently revised to 31st December 2022. However, the progress of works on site was slow in general. The consultant has frequently communicated concerns to the contractor regarding the unsatisfactory pace of construction activities. After a meeting held on 14th December 2022, involving representatives from the Attorney General Office, Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development, and Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development, a recommendation was put forth to terminate the contract. In line with the recommendation, HSCC Limited India submitted the necessary documents. In light of these developments, subsequent meetings were held by the Performance Review Committee of my ministry, and the Public Procurement Office was duly notified of the situation. Consequently, on 22nd May 2023, my ministry agreed to terminate the contract with Ganeshan Construction Limited for the construction of the Community Health Center at Rochebois.
So what are steps being taken by the Ministry of Health, and can we have a tentative date where things will materialize at Rochebois?
Mr. Speaker, sir, so after that, the consultant carried out an evaluation of the completed works, alongside preparing specification for the relaunching of the tender. The gross value of works completed before stoppage of work amounted to 2,658,446 rupees. So the value of works as per the initial contract is around 33 million rupees. The amount of pending works as per current market rate calculated to be 56,000 rupees. So the procurement process, sorry, it's 56 million rupees. So the procurement process, it will take another 4 months again to do all the steps to relaunch the tender. So expected by end of this year, this project will start again with a new contractor.
Next question.
B772. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Salon de l'Industrie Locale, or Trade Fair, as mentioned by the Honourable Member, is a measure announced in the budget speech 2022-2023. It was in fact an exhibition cum sales event, which was organized by the Industrial Development Division of my ministry and was held at the Swami Vivekananda International Convention Center from the 2nd to the 4th of December last year. The objectives of the Salon de l'Industrie Locale were mainly to, 1, display the savoir-faire of Mauritian enterprises and increase the visibility of locally manufactured products. Second, boost the image of the manufacturing sector. And third, enable the public to buy high-quality, locally manufactured products at affordable prices. 79 manufacturing enterprises participated in the salon by displaying and putting on sale a wide variety of quality products such as garments, foodstuffs, tea, spices, biscuits, fish preparations, jewelry, furniture, paints, detergents, cosmetics, perfumes, wellness products, metal and aluminium works, lighting works, paper products, leather items, retreated tires, jute bags, home textiles, mattresses, recycled products, and decoration items. Mr. Speaker, sir, I can say with confidence that the objectives of the Salon have been fully met. The number of visitors who were present during this three-day event had the opportunity to purchase any item of their choice from a range of locally manufactured products which were available under one roof and which is in line with the import substitution strategy of government. The event has enabled the exhibitors to not only enhance the visibility of their products, but also conclude business deals and negotiate future orders. Positive feedbacks have been received from different quarters, including the business community, and the majority of them have expressed their wish to participate in similar events in future. The Honourable Member will no doubt agree that the holding of such an event constitutes a strategic marketing tool which has long-term outcomes.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the trade fair was, in fact, a total fiasco in December. Can I ask the Minister whether his ministry has the know-how to organize trade fairs?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I object to the word pronounced by the honourable members that it was a fiasco. In fact, the number of visitors and the interest that it gained, the number of exhibitors as well, and their subsequent satisfaction demonstrate that it was a success. In fact, we have had to hold this fair in 2020 to celebrate the 50 years of the industry. In fact, because of COVID-19, we couldn't hold that on that year. And this is why we have had to hold it last year in December.
Sir, in fact, there were exhibitors, but there were no potential buyers or visitors. Can I ask the Minister which marketing strategies were used to attract potential visitors or buyers to the trade fair?
The marketing strategy that we have had digital billboards on Metro, information on MBC, newspapers. For the newspapers, I can say on Le Mauricien, Le Défi Quotidien, on radio, Radio Plus, Waza, Radio 1, Best FM. Unfortunately, I don't see Top FM. Lototech digital screens across retailers in Mauritius. Boost in Lototech Facebook page. And yeah.
Next question. Level 2.
B773.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the National Action Plan for Tobacco Control 2022-2026 has been approved by government in February 2022. And it is in line with Goal 3 of the United Nations resolution entitled Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which targets a 30% reduction in prevalence of current tobacco use in persons aged 15 years and above by 2025. The National Action Plan for Tobacco Control 2022-2026 has been devised to enumerate the various strategies that could enhance the actual position which Mauritius holds as an anti-tobacco lobbying country. Mr. Speaker, sir, to monitor the progress achieved in the implementation of the action plan, a steering committee has been set up under the chair of the Senior Chief Executive of my ministry, with the participation of other ministries. 3 subcommittees, namely on legislation, capacity building, and sensitization, have been constituted in order to accomplish the various objectives of the action plan. As part of the action plan, regular meetings are scheduled with different stakeholders, and requests for a focal point from ministries and departments has already been initiated in order to facilitate communication and sharing of information between stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the objectives of the action plan is to amend the Public Health Restrictions on Tobacco Products Regulation 2008. Consequently, the Public Health Restrictions on Tobacco Products Regulation 2022 has been gazetted on 10th June 2022 and has come into force on 31st May 2023. With the current regulations, the concept of plain packaging of cigarettes is now a reality. I wish to inform the House that Mauritius is among the few countries to have successfully achieved the implementation of plain packaging, the introduction of a new set of 8 pictorial health warning, and the 100% display of pictorial health warning at the back of packets of cigarettes. Along with plain packaging, strong emphasis is being laid out over the sale of single-stick cigarettes, sale of cigarettes to minors, smoking in public places and indoor spaces, bans on a category of tobacco products such as e-cigarettes, e-liquids, chewing tobacco, roll your own tobacco, accessories such as pouches, paper, and filters. With Mr. Speaker, so with regard to the capacity building, 3 training sessions have been conducted last year, and 1 training session has been carried out in 2023 for non-communicable disease coordinators, community physicians, and paramedical staff of my ministry. A total number of 80 staff have benefited from the training programs. In addition, another training session was also organized to train staff prior to the opening of the new tobacco cessation clinic in Montaillon Community Hospital, which was inaugurated on 12 April 2023. The objective of this new facility is to decentralize the services provided in tobacco cessation clinics and to increase its accessibility to the population willing to quit smoking. I wish to inform the House that a 3-day training workshop from 17 to 20th April 2023 was also conducted in the island of Rodrigues to empower medical professionals and paramedical staff to deliver the tobacco cessation services in Rodrigues. A total number of 60 staff have successfully been trained. In the same vein, in July 2023, a training program in collaboration with the State Law Office will be organized for public health inspectors of my ministry on the implementation and enforcement of Public Health Regulation 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, another activity which has been organized by my ministry is to encourage teenagers not to start smoking and raise awareness about the ill effects of tobacco products.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister advise of the action taken by his ministry to curb down smoking amongst teenagers and young adults?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in regard to curb down smoking among teenagers and young adults, so health talks on the risk associated with tobacco consumption are organized in the community, at work sites, in secondary schools, during NCD screening programs. So just for, as a matter of figures, for between July 2022 and May 2023, a total of 93,806 people have participated in sensitization and awareness programs, including in schools, among school children. So this is the process they've been done to, we are also organizing another activity by my ministry to encourage teenagers not to start smoking and raise awareness about the ill effects of alcohol. So, and that was called the National Fresque Mural Inter-College Competition that was held recently. So there are different activities targeting the young not to start smoking.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, in his reply, the Minister mentioned Long Mountain Hospital. Can the Honourable Minister give us details of the services offered at Long Mountain District Hospital, including the tobacco cessation clinic?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. So it was inaugurated in May this year, and then in alignment with WHO guidelines, the clinic offers psychotherapy and counseling to first-time attendees, complemented by pharmacotherapy, that is medication being given like nicotine replacement therapy through nicotine patches, and that being given according to the number of cigarettes, the dependence you have on nicotine. And there are so many other drugs also being used for that. And the different services offered at Long Mountain District Hospital. So there are the Nenufar Rehabilitation Center with 10 beds, that is for the adolescent. Hemodialysis Center for 10 patients, being 110 patients doing 3 sessions every day. The NCD clinic, family planning, the emergency department, the well baby clinic, the vaccination, and then the specialized services. Now, specialists are attending the Long Mountain Hospital, like cardiology, the medical, obs and gynae, pediatrics, and orthopedics. So there are a number of services being offered at this hospital.
The table has been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn: B775, B778, B784, B790, B783, B792, B798, B802, B803, B805. Next question.
B774.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I'm going to answer this question. I'm informed by the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Center that on the 8th of February 2023, a case of suspected landslide at Le Mont-Brabant Mountain was reported by the Ministry of Arts and Cultural Heritage, which had blocked the passage of the existing visitor trail. The suspected case of landslide was due to heavy rainfall on the 26th and 27th of January 2023, which had affected the whole island. On the 10th of February 2023, a joint visit was undertaken, comprising representatives of the Ministry of Arts and Cultural Heritage, Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development, Geotechnical Unit, National Disaster and Risk Reduction Management Center, a Special Mobile Force, District Council of Black River, Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund, and the local police. Based on further investigation, the Geotechnical Unit concluded that it was a case of landslide and recommended that the access to the site be closed. Consequently, on the 10th of February 2023, government decided to temporarily close the access to the visitors trail of the Le Mont-Brabant Mountain for safety and security reasons until further notice. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that a high-level meeting was held on the 14th of February 2023 by the Ministry of Arts and Cultural Heritage, comprising relevant ministries and departments, wherein it was agreed that a detailed investigation would be carried out regarding the potential hazards of the prevailing landslide that had occurred, with a view to finding an alternate trail. On the 24th of March 2023, the police helicopter squadron undertook an aerial survey of the casualty site, and several countermeasures were proposed, namely, creation of an alternative route as a short-term measure to enable the reopening of access to the mountain, the slope stabilization using wooden piles and beams, improvement of the drainage facilities, and improvement of the vegetation management. Mr. Speaker, sir, a third survey was undertaken at a casualty area on the 12th of May 2023 to investigate the possibility of an alternate trekking truck and prepare the scope of work for the necessary countermeasures work, amongst others. An alternative trail was identified some 200 meters from the affected trail. The geotechnical unit made recommendation in its report, and two main recommendations were made in order to reopen access to the mountain, which are as follows. Firstly, clearing the identified alternative trail, which was approved by the board of Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund, and restrict access to the casualty site, obviously, until countermeasure work has been completed. The geotechnical unit also highlighted the importance of a guide to accompany visitors to the mountain viewpoints. Furthermore, the latter department is also in the process of finalizing the bidding document for the proposed countermeasure works. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Ministry of Arts and Cultural Heritage that the Tourism Authority has started clearing the alternative trail yesterday, and same is expected to last 1 week, depending on the weather and the site condition, obviously. The removal of the small rocks and boulders, clearing of wild vegetation, mowing of grass and pruning of trees, branches, and dry fallen leaves along the alternative trail will be undertaken by the relevant authorities while protecting the endemic and indigenous plant species found at site. The reopening of the Le Monde Brabant mountain is scheduled for the beginning of July 2023. Appropriate signage, such as directional, informative, awareness, and warning will be placed at both entry points of the alternative trail. Furthermore, chain barriers with bollard will be placed to restrict access to the casualty area affected by the landslide.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
The table has been advised that PQB 777 has been withdrawn. Time over. Motion.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Seconded. The question is that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it.
Statements by ministers.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to make a statement as a follow-up to my reply to the private notice question at our sitting of Tuesday, 6th of June, 2023, relating to the World Bank report, the Container Port Performance Index 2022, a comparable assessment of performance based on vessel time in port. In a supplementary question, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition requested that the qualifications of Mr. E.P.M.P., Managing Director of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited, be tabled. I would like to seize this opportunity to thank the Leader of the Opposition for having raised the matter. In fact, Mr. E.P.M.P. was requested to produce the originals of his degree, diploma, that he claimed to possess from Charles Telfair Institute. A preliminary inquiry has revealed that there is reasonable suspicion that he does not possess such qualifications. On Thursday, 15th of June 2023, the attention of the Managing Director of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited was drawn to this suspicion. He confided that he had never attended that institute and did not possess those qualifications. Consequently, on that very day, and of his own free will, and for personal reasons, he tendered his resignation as Managing Director of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited with immediate effect. As this appeared to be an alleged case of making use of false documents and forgery, the matter was referred by the Human Resource Manager of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited to the police on Friday, 16th of June, 2023. Police has initiated an inquiry into the matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, on that same date of Friday, 16th of June, 2023, the Board of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited held a special meeting to take cognizance of the resignation of the Managing Director and designated Mr. SP, Finance Manager, as the officer in charge of the company pending the appointment of a new Managing Director. Mr. SP had, in fact, performed in the past the duty of officer in charge of the company. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Public bills third reading.
Speaker, sir, I move that the appropriation 2023-2024 bill number 9 of 2023 be read a third time and passed.
Seconded. The question is that the appropriation 2023-2024 bill number 9 of 2023 be read the third time and passed. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it.
Public bill second reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that the Central Medical Procurement Authority Bill number 4 of 2023 be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, sir, before elaborating on this new legislation, it is essential to give an overview of the procurement unit of my ministry. The procurement unit, staffed by 141 procurement and administrative officers, is an essential component in the continuum of care. It has to ensure timely supply of medicines, equipment, and medical disposables to be able to provide health services. The annual cost of procurement for medical disposables and pharmaceuticals amounts to more than 2 billion rupees every year. The ministry procures more than 1,000 medical items and more than 850 medications each year. Medical items are medical disposables such as gloves, syringes, needles, sutures, test strips, overshoes, caps, masks, plastic aprons, all types and sizes of dressings, bandages, implants, and so on. For each and every item, the procurement procedure is undertaken separately, although some may be pooled. As for the pharmaceutical products, it has the same complexity. Just to illustrate, my ministry purchases 80 million paracetamol tablets for about 28 million rupees, 60 million metformin tablets for diabetes for 17 million rupees, 1.8 million tablets of diltiazem, a cardiac drug, for more than 1 million rupees, and 360 cardiac stents for more than 25 million rupees. These are hundreds of these drugs that have to be made available every time. Each year, my ministry procures consumables for the Central Health Laboratory for 447 million rupees, cath labs for 300 million rupees, dialysis consumables for 275 million rupees, ophthalmology consumables items for 70 million rupees, neonatal consumables for 65 million rupees, and dental, among others, for more than 50 million rupees. The administrative procedure is tremendous. Mr. Speaker, sir, it will take me more than a parliamentary sitting to only enumerate the thousands of items being procured. The present procurement legislation under the Public Procurement Act of 2006 provides for different procurement methods to cater for goods, works, and services in general, that is, for all government entities. In the present legislation, there are different methods of procurement, namely open advertised bidding, restricted bidding, request for sale quotation, direct procurement, and emergency procurement. The existing procurement process at the level of my ministry under PPA involves several stages. For each item, be it consumables, equipment, or medication, a committee of needs has to decide all items to be procured with justification for the coming financial year, including an estimated quantity. The identification of needs is done at hospital levels and depending on the specificity of the item. The Committee of Needs consists of regional health director and in charge of various units. The Committee of Needs prioritizes the items to be procured. Following the recommendations of the Committee of Needs at the level of regional hospitals, the procurement section at the Ministry makes a procurement plan over the year determining what procurement exercise to start for each month of the coming financial year. The request for procurement goes through technical officers for drafting of specifications. To note that the staff of the procurement section is under the supervision of the director of the procurement department, which falls under the Ministry of Finance. At the same time, while drafting the specifications, quantity and estimated budget are worked out by the procurement section. The request then goes to the finance section for earmarking of funds and back to the secretariat of the departmental bid committee of the procurement section. Each departmental bid committee, DBC, is chaired by a permanent secretary or a deputy permanent secretary and has one manager procurement and supply and one manager finance operations as members as well as a secretary. There are 3 DBCs within the ministry, since there are thousands of procurement files transiting through the DBC. The functions of the DBC are among others, to vet bidding documents, request for amendments to the bidding documents, recommend the composition of the bid evaluation committees to the accounting officer, examine the bid evaluation reports submitted by the bid evaluation committee, that is BEC, and recommend its approval to the accounting officer. Mr. Speaker, sir, this daunting task is a challenging one for the procurement section of my ministry. First and foremost, the time factor is of paramount importance. Life-saving medicines have to be procured in time, without delay, and in sufficient amount, as well as equipment and medical disposables. For example, during the present financial year 2022-2023, the Central Procurement Board requested for amendments in the bidding documents for the procurement of a list of 8 different vaccines against hepatitis, human papillomavirus, rotavirus, and pneumococcal polysaccharides amounting to a total of around 130 million rupees. The CPB asked for corrections to be made to the document. The document was thus returned to the Ministry for necessary adjustment. This process took around 1 month, hence it impacted our different vaccination programs. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the Committee of Supply, the issue of BCG vaccines was raised. BCG vaccines, which are administered to neonates to prevent severe forms of tuberculosis. A first procurement exercise was carried out on 11th October 2022 for 20,000 doses of BCG. No quote was received when the tender was closed on 20 October. The item was relaunched with closing date on 4th November 2022. Again, no bid received. Action was taken for the procurement of 8,000 doses of BCG vaccine on a fast-track basis on 18th November 2022. On 18th January 2023, 8,000 doses of BCG vaccines were received at the Central Supply Division. A request was made for the bridging purchase of 6,000 doses on 1st of March. Only one supplier quoted, but instead of 6,000 doses, the supplier quoted for 6,000 vials of 20 doses, that is a total of 120,000 doses. The bid was rejected. On 15th May 2023, a pro forma invoice for 6,000 doses was sought. Pro forma was received 4 days later, and a letter was issued on 24th May 2023. Delivery of 6,000 doses of BCG vaccine is now expected next week. So meanwhile, there is a relaunch of tenders for 20,000 doses of the BCG vaccine with closing date 22nd June 2023. The delivery of medicines or vaccines, as I just explained, does not depend only on procurement section of the ministry or on the ministry itself, but it depends on suppliers as well. Unfortunately, the Public Procurement Act doesn't cater the specificities for the procurement of health-related products and services. The second challenge is the size of our market. Mauritius, being a country of around 1.3 million inhabitants, overseas manufacturers of pharmaceutical products and medical devices, find our market relatively small compared to other countries. Hence, international bidders do not quote for medical items as such. The third challenge is monitoring of stocks. Ministry ensures the warehousing and distribution of medical supplies for all health institutions over the island. Medical supplies are centrally received at the Central Supplies Division, CSD, at Plaine-Lezan. The CSD has had to lease many annexes to its warehouse, taking what is available within the premises. The CSD has since leased the DWC building at Legibis, the ex-government printing building at La Tour-Kénic, the ex-tobacco building at Plaine-Lezan, La Rosa, and the NIC building at Castel. Medical supplies are distributed to the island 6 days a week to the 5 regional hospitals, 2 district hospitals, 2 community hospitals, 6 specialized hospitals, 7 mediclinics, 19 area health centers, and 113 community health centers. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Electronic Inventory Management System, EIMS, has recently been introduced in the government, and my ministry has already implemented it. The EIMS is supposed to register and record all medicines delivered to patients in real time. At present, there is no real-time electronic recording of stock from the moment the products reach the warehouse to the time the stock is being used. Therefore, the stock monitoring is not reflecting the real figures. Besides, the EIMS required more than 50 enhancements to the system to cater the specific needs of my ministry. With the current system, it is hence impossible to have a real picture of the stock available unless a proper warehousing and a law enforcement authority monitors the stock. All procurement forecast is based on these stock levels, and without it, there will be no good planning for procurement. Mr. Speaker, sir, expiry of drugs is a recurrent issue since many years. I should, however, point out that according to the World Health Organization, a threshold of 10% of expired drugs is considered to be acceptable in all member states of the WHO. The fourth challenge is the cumbersome existing process. Let us take the example of the procurement of stents and related accessories for cardiac center and cath labs of the ministry. A list of items was requested through the bidding exercise invited by the ministry. The outcome was that some items from that list could not be made available because in some cases, the supplier submitted their samples beyond the prescribed timetable, and in other cases, the costs offered by the bidders were higher than the cost estimate provided by the ministry at a percentage not acceptable to the procurement policy office. This jeopardized the whole procurement process. Some items were delivered while others were not, resulting in the purchase of these items on local market, obviously at a very higher price. The fifth challenge is supplier default. In some cases, suppliers inform the ministry that they are not able in a position to supply the items 6 months after they are awarded a contract to supply pharmaceutical product. there is no other means than to procure on local market. And it was happening before COVID, during COVID, and as well as it is happening at present. We are facing similar cases every month. For instance, in the case of atorvastatin, this is a medication used for cholesterol, and a request was made for 22 million tablets in 2 installments of 11 million tablets. The letter of award was issued on 1st August 2022, worth 9.4 million rupees. The first installment of this medication, that is atorvastatin, was supposed to be delivered by end of September 2022. Several reminders were sent to the supplier in August and September. This supplier delivered 5 million tablets on 21st December 2022, and the second batch of 6 million tablets was expected on 28th March 2023. What happened? The supplier failed to reply to the numerous emails and phone calls made by the ministry. The DBC, that is the Department of Bid, cancelled the order on 25th of April. A relaunch of bid was made on 16th May 2023 for 13 million tablets. The bid was awarded on 5th of June 2023, and the delivery is expected in the first week of July. So another example is how, because of supplier, medication cannot be made available to the public. Another clear example is the supply of heparin. So the supplier default is at the procurement of heparin and injection used for dialysis patients in 2021. Request for the purchase of 65,000 heparin units was made on 15 December 2022. Tender was launched and closed on 17th May 2021. The successful bidder agreed to supply 65,000 units in 3 installments of 21,666 units, each in October 2021, February 2022, and May 2022. The unit price of heparin was 124 rupees, and the total cost 8 million rupees. The supplier failed to supply the first installment of heparin on time and delivered 8,000 units in May 2022. That is 6 months after the scheduled delivery date. The remaining balance of 13,666 units of heparin was never delivered. Being given that stock was almost exhausted, and since heparin is a critical injection for patients, the government had to intervene. Contact was established with the High Commission of India via a government-to-government procurement for the supply of 20,800 doses of heparin, and delivery was made on 24th May 2022, just in time to avoid shortage. Ministry kept sending reminders to the original supplier of heparin. Eventually, the delivery of the second installment of 26,666 units of heparin was made on 22nd July 2022, that is with a delay of 5 months. The third installment was never delivered. The award was cancelled by the ministry on 26 September 2022. Without the intervention of the government, heparin would have been out of stock, and that would have had dramatic consequences for dialysis patients. Mr. Speaker, sir, in 2021, a contract was awarded to a company to supply 60 million of metformin tablets for diabetic. This is a diabetic drug, and the contract specified the time of delivery in staggered manner. The supplier delivered only 7.6 million and could not deliver the remaining balance. We were in deficit of 52.4 million tablets of metformin. Similarly, 8 million tablets of clopidogrel are procured each year. This medication is a blood thinner, and it prevents clotting of blood. We were faced with supplier default in this case too. So let us look at the options to curb down this shortage. Based on the present Procurement Act, we have to launch tenders anew because the validity period of the offer has already lapsed. it has taken another 6 months to get the medication. Local purchase was done to palliate the shortage. The ministry was blamed for the unavailability of this drug, where in fact it was the supplier who defaulted. The sixth challenge is local or direct purchase. Very often, at the level of hospitals, regional health directors have to resort to local purchase, which means purchasing from the local market, usually at a higher price than if the same products were procured using the relevant procurement methods as already stated. Late flagging of shortages of medical drugs are the result of inadequate and poor procurement planning and execution, leading to recourse to emergencies or direct purchases, as well as frequent need for undertaking overtime at higher cost to government. Deviation in prices is another challenge faced by the ministry. Since 2008, the Ministry of Health decided that a deviation of more than 25% in the prices quoted by bidders would no longer be accepted. This has caused many technically valid offers to be rejected outright, and the exercise to be repeated for another round of at least 6 months, causing delays amounting to stock outs of badly needed critical items. Every year, the National Audit Report, the Public Accounts Committee, and the media draw attention to the shortcomings of the system. It is clear that the present procurement process bears lots of shortcomings. Let us take, for example, the National Audit Report in 2004 and 2005. At section 16.2, it stipulates that 107.7 million were dispersed for procurement of biomedical equipment, 63.6 million rupees for vehicles and equipment, and 44.1 million rupees for the acquisition of high-tech equipment. In its findings in the report of 2004 and 2005, it concludes that the lack of planning in respect of infrastructure pre-installation works has hampered the commissioning of equipment, and this has resulted in additional costs to the ministry and in delay in the provision of services. Procurement procedures were lengthy, ranging from 14 months to 2 years. The list is exhaustive, but let us look at the National Audit Report of 2003 and 2004. Section 13.1 dealing with pharmacy. The report highlights that the Commissioner for Health at Rodrigues places orders of drugs with the Central Supplies Division of the Ministry of Health and Quality of Life, and these drugs are to be used for the next 3 months, and thus issues should be effected with appropriate shelf life. Drugs nearing expiry dates and with even less than 1 month shelf life were being sent to Rodrigues. So the procurement system for bulk tenders and local purchase at regional hospital is characterized by flaws that are leading to shortage of drugs. A number of persistent issues and challenges have been encountered with regard to the procurement of such medical supplies and pharmaceuticals which have been consistent and compatible with all the evidence to date. The main ones are inadequate and poor procurement planning and execution, leading to recourse to emergencies or direct purchases, as well as frequent need to undertaking overtime at high cost to government. Second, delays in procurement exercises due to longer time taken in regard to drafting and vetting of bidding documents, evaluation of bids, and approval and issues of letters of award. Poor and ineffective stock management leading to frequent overpurchase and wastage. Lack of effective contract management, as well as poor monitoring and reporting system, and possible collusion and governance issues. So these result in near out-of-stock situations for critical and life-saving items. Mr. Speaker, sir, we are left with two options. business as usual, or do something to change it. This government, led by the Prime Minister, is determined to address this issue and to deliver quality health care to the population. It is this government who has the courage to address procurement issues of the Ministry of Health. When opposition parties were in government, none had ever the determination to address this issue, though constantly being criticized through the National Audit Office. The question whether to amend the existing Public Procurement Act or to come up with a new legislation, the Central Medical Procurement Authority was widely brainstormed and debated. Amending the Public Procurement Act of 2006 is not possible because my ministry procures specialized items which are quite unique in its availability, time constraint, and challenges faced with stock monitoring. The Central Medical Procurement Authority Bill aims to establish a specialized medical procurement body responsible for managing the procurement, warehousing, supply, and distribution of medical supplies to all the public health institutions in Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, let us take a look at how developed countries like the United Kingdom procure medicine, medical disposables, and medical equipment. The National Health Service, that is the NHS, is the primary healthcare provider in the UK. As part of its role, the NHS oversees the procurement of medical supplies on behalf of healthcare providers, such as hospitals and laboratories across the country. The NHS supply chain is a central procurement agency that manages the sourcing, purchasing, and distribution of medical products. The NHS supply chain plays a vital role in centralized procurement. It acts as a central purchasing and distribution hub for medical supply. The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency regulates and monitors the safety, quality, efficacy of medicines and medical devices in the UK. Suppliers and manufacturers are requested to comply with stringent regulation and standards to ensure patient safety. The Public Contracts Regulations 2015 in UK provides the legal framework for public sector procurement, including healthcare supplies. These regulations require the government to follow competitive tendering processes, inviting bids from suppliers and awarding contracts based on predefined criteria. Several countries have established centralized procurement agencies or authorities for medicines, medical disposables, and medical equipment. Some examples. France. In France, l'Agence nationale de sécurité du médicament et des produits de santé is responsible for centralized procurement for public healthcare institutions. It negotiates contracts, purchases medical supplies, pharmaceuticals, and equipment on their behalf. Sweden. The Swedish Association of Local Authorities and Regions manages the procurement of medical supplies and equipment for healthcare providers in Sweden. It collaborates with regional and local authorities to ensure efficient procurement processes. South Africa. The National Department of Health in South Africa has established the Central Procurement Agency to centralize the procurement of medicines, medical disposables, and equipment for public healthcare facilities. In India, the Central Medical Services Society is responsible for centralized procurement and distribution of medicines and equipment for various national health programs and government healthcare facilities in India. United States of America, the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs cooperates the Veteran Health Administration, which includes the VA National Acquisition Center, It is responsible for centralizing the procurement of medical supplies and equipment for medical facilities. Canada, Health Canada oversees the procurement of medical supplies and equipment for the Canadian healthcare system. Additionally, some provinces and territories have established centralized procurement agencies or authorities within their respective jurisdictions. Australia, the Australian government's Department of Health manages the procurement of medicines, medical devices and supplies through the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme and the Prestiges List. New Zealand, Pharmac, a New Zealand government agency, centralizes the procurement of pharmaceuticals on behalf of district health boards in the country. It negotiates with suppliers to ensure cost-effective access to medicine. Germany, the Federal Joint Committee in Germany oversees the centralized procurement of medicines, medical devices, and equipment for the statutory health insurance system. It negotiates with manufacturers and establishes pricing agreements. Mr. Speaker, sir, in 2016, the European Union Technical Assistance Evaluation Team launched a survey on the procurement of pharmaceuticals and medical supplies in the Ministry of Health in Mauritius. One of the main recommendations was to initiate the development process of an independent authority. A major reform was thus warranted and vital to enable the smooth functioning of this activity so as to overcome together those challenges for a secured nation. Today, this government, under the Prime Minister Honorable Pravin Kumar Jagnnath, is making history once again by coming up with the Central Medical Procurement Authority, an independent authority, as recommended by the EUTA in 2016. This government means business when it comes to reform, and the Central Medical Procurement Authority Bill continues in a series of ongoing reform programs that will deliver the essential building blocks of a modern and healthy nation. This bill aims to establish the Central Medical Procurement Authority for the procurement, warehousing, supply, and distribution of medical supplies. The Central Procurement Medical Authority will be a specialized and distinct entity operating within a separate legal framework. The authority will be dedicated to the undertaking of the procurement of all medical supplies and pharmaceuticals for the ministry with the following main functions: to undertake a proper and effective procurement planning for medical supplies and pharmaceuticals in consultation with my ministry, after analyzing, consolidating, and standardizing all its requirements. Develop strategies for an efficient procurement-based system based on nation types of medical supplies, relying on market intelligence and requirements of my ministry. Arrange for, manage, and oversee real-time inventory management of all medical supplies and pharmaceutical points, as well as its usage and consumption, using appropriate and converging technologies and IT systems. Undertake procurement operations in a timely, cost-effective, and efficient manner in connection with the preparation of bid documents, launching and evaluation of bids, approval of award of contracts, as well as ensuring adequate and proactive contract management and its proper monitoring and reporting to my ministry, and ensuring that the stock level of medical supplies, pharmaceutical products, and vaccines are maintained and available at all time in our public health institution by collecting and analyzing real-time as well as reliable data. The CMPA will be responsible for the procurement operations for medical supplies and pharmaceuticals as compared to the Central Procurement Board, CPB, which is involved only in the conduct of the bidding process. It will ensure that the identification of requirements and preparations of the procurement plan are completed within a set time frame as compared to CPB, which is not involved in this activity. The authority will be responsible for analyzing, consolidating, standardizing, and approving all the requirements emanating from my ministry. The CMPA will also oversee the management of the contract and evaluate and rate the performance of suppliers, which is not currently done by the CPB. The CMPA would follow existing processes and procedures under the Public Procurement Act, as well as the directives and guidelines issued or to be issued by the Public Procurement Office, except for Part 3 of the Public Procurement Act, which concerns the Central Procurement Board. The Part 4 of the Public Procurement Act, procurement methods, would apply to all procurements to be made by the CMPA. The proposed CMPA bill is different from the Public Procurement Act in the following ways. Specialized focus. The CMPA bill is designed to cater specifically for medical procurement needs of public health institutions, while the PPA 2006 applies to a broader range of procurement across various sectors. Specific procurement methods. The CMPA bill provides a comprehensive list of procurement methods tailored to the technical nature of medical supplies, whereas the PPA, that is the Public Procurement Act 2006, offers a more general framework without specific methods for medical procurement. Enhanced efficiency. The CMPA bill aims to streamline the procurement process for medical supplies, ensuring the availability and maintenance of stock levels at all times. This focus on efficiency and supply chain management may not be as explicitly emphasized in the PPA 2006. Hence, the proposed CMPA bill introduces a specialized framework for medical procurement designed to meet the unique needs of public health institutions in Mauritius. With specific procurement methods and flexibility in selection, the CMPA aims to enhance efficiency and ensure availability of medical supplies. The CMPA bill, once implemented, will provide for a more targeted and efficient approach. Mr. Speaker, sir, let us go through the various clauses of this new legislation. Part 1 of the CMPA bill deals with the applicability of the Public Procurement Act. Part 7 refers to the function of the Procurement Office. Part 7 to procurement contracts, and Part 8 to procurement integrity, that is artificial division, duties of public bodies, and conduct public bidders, conduct public officers, bidders, and suppliers. Part 2 of the new CMPA bill is about the establishment of the authority. Part 2, Section 7 defines the objects of the authority, which shall be responsible for the procurement, warehousing, supply, and ensuring that stock level. Among the powers vested to the authority according to Part 2, Section 9, are to enter into lease or rental agreements for the warehousing of medical supplies, to enter into association with other such bodies or organizations within or outside Mauritius as it considers appropriate. Mr. Speaker, sir, in accordance to Part 2, Section B of the bill having to do with the administration and management of the authority, Section 10 of the bill states that the CMPA will be managed by a board comprising a chairman, two vice chairpersons, and 4 other members. These members should have wide experience in procurement, financial, engineering, or scientific areas in the medical field. The chairperson, vice chairperson, and members will be appointed by the President of the Republic of Mauritius on such terms and conditions as may be determined by the Prime Minister in consultations with the Leader of the Opposition. Every member shall hold office for a period not exceeding 3 years and shall be eligible for reappointment. Section the CMPA will have also to adopt the electronic bidding system in line with the PPO guidelines. The CMPA will still be governed by Part 6, 7, and 8 of the Public Procurement Act 2006 as amended, which relate to challenges and appeals, payment conditions of contracts, as well as procurement integrity for public officials, bidders, and suppliers. In this regard, the proposed bill makes provision for every member and officer of the authority to file with the ICAC a declaration of his assets and liabilities in such form and manner as may be prescribed, that is, within 30 days of his appointment and on termination of his appointment. Moreover, any person who contravenes this act shall commit an offence and shall, on conviction, be liable to a fine not exceeding 1 million rupees and to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, the importance of integrity is a fundamental principle when it concerns the management of public funds. Those responsible with public sector governance need to exercise leadership with the highest standards of professionalism. For the purpose of good governance, there is need for accountability and transparency. Moreover, Mr. Speaker, sir, the auditor of the authority shall be the director of audit, and the latter shall state in his annual report whether provisions with respect to the procurement stages has been complied with. Although the setting up of this authority make it a plausible mechanism of action, yet the procurement integrity cannot be disregarded. This new bill has a clear intent to bring out the government's efforts in constantly improving the management of public funds. Availability and affordability of modern medicines have enabled us to live longer and healthier lives, and we should endow ourselves with this deeper insight for the right and rational policy shift. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am confident that the bill, which will enable the setting up of the Central Medical Procurement Authority, will contribute significantly towards ensuring a constant and continuous supply of medical supplies by having a robust grip on its administration with an effective control of the authority's response mechanism and streamlined systems to cut red tape. The authority will be geared towards proactiveness and be self-sensitive than file-sensitive, and be life-sensitive than file-sensitive when it comes to the culture of bureaucracy. It will definitely give another dimension to the health security of my ministry. I'm confident that the authority's peak performance will work like compound interest, consistently pushing itself to the edge of the challenge skills sweet spot by having clearer goals that are aligned with hard goals that are further aligned with its mission level goals. Basically, it means taking appropriate risks, getting feedback, hunting for opportunities in pattern recognition so as to be in the flow triggers for action to ensuring that the stock level of medical supplies in all our public health institutions are maintained and are available at all times. We are expecting a huge efficiency exchange and gain with the setting up of this authority. Mr. Speaker, sir, I end with these words of George Bernard Shaw: progress is impossible. I quote, progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. And of course, I thank you for your attention.
Granted. Honourable members, I'll suspend the sitting for 30 minutes.